Hello grade 7s. So today we are working from the Premier Mathematics textbook. This is the grade 7 one and you can see it's approved by CAPS. This is a textbook that we're going to be working out of to help you get through the lockdown and to make sure that you are ready for school when you do go back eventually. What we're going to start off with is we're going to start off with common fractions, and you'll see that we've got ordering, comparing and simplifying fractions. And I have got a YouTube clip that I'm going to be putting into each of these so that you have an understanding of how to do each one. Now we're going to start off with equivalent fractions, and those are fractions that have the same value. So we've got half, 2/4 and 3/6. Now in order to work out an equivalent fraction, you need to times top and bottom by the same number. Okay, 2 and 4, you're going to times by 2 at the top, times by 2 at the bottom, and you're going to get 2/4. In this case, from half to 3/6, we times by 3, times by 3, and we get 3/6. Okay, when working with fractions, the answer is always written in the simplest form using equivalent fractions. So we always try and find a number that can go into both numbers and see if we can make it smaller. Sometimes you can make it smaller and sometimes we can't. So in this case, you'll see we have 14/21. Now this is where your times tables are incredibly important. You'll see that 14 and 21 are both multiples of 7. So can you see that 7 can go into both of them? So 14 divided by 7 is 2. 21 divided by 7 is 3. Okay, and if you look at 12/15, we're going to do the same thing. I can see that 3 can go into both of these numbers. Okay, so 3 goes into 12 4 times, 3 goes into 15 5 times. Okay, all right, moving on quite quickly, we're going to go into the fractions, trying to write them in descending order and ascending order. And the way to do that is to make it the LCD, which is your lowest common denominator. Okay, so what we do is we try and look for all our, through all the fractions that are given to us, we change them all at the bottom. Okay, so you change all the denominators, but remember, whatever you do to that denominator at the bottom, you have to do to the top. Because remember, we're still going to make them equivalent. They still have to mean the same thing. You can't just change the bottom and not do anything to the top, because then you've changed the whole fraction. Okay, and then this actually makes it easier to compare. And you'll see what it says here. Fractions can most easily be compared when they have the same denominator. Okay, it makes it very difficult to compare fractions if you don't know, if the denominators are very different from each other. Okay, then we've got something called an improper fraction and a mixed number. Now, I did this in one of my YouTube channels that I will post a short clip of it into this. But you'll see that a mixed number is a number that has a whole number and a fraction. And an improper fraction is when it's top heavy. So the top number, which is the numerator, is bigger than the denominator. And here's an example of each. There's your improper. Can you see it's bigger at the top than at the bottom? And here you've got your mixed number where it's got a whole number and it's got a fraction. Okay, and when we want to convert it, okay, so sometimes we need to change them from one to the other. And this is like the basics of fractions that we need to be able to get right, because this is going to come into play in grade 8 next year when you go to high school. So if I want to change 3.5 into an improper, which means I want it to be top heavy, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 3 and times it by the 2. So 2 times 3 is 6, and I add the top number and I get 7, and it's going to be 7/2 as it shows here. Okay, you don't necessarily have to show all your working out, but if you do need to, or if you feel like you need to, then you're more than welcome to as well. But after a while, you're going to get you're going to become very used to doing it, and it's going to come very naturally and very quickly. So if you've got 3.5 times 3 by 2, and you get 6, add the top number, and you're going to get 7/2. And the reason why you are timesing it is because remember, this is a whole number, so it's 3 lots of half. Okay, but it's 3 wholes, so it's 3 lots of that. So for each whole number, so there's 3 lots of them, there's 2 halves in each one. So that's 2 times 3 is 6, because obviously you'd have 2 in each of them, so that's 6. And then remember, you'd have 1 extra half left over, so that's where your 7 comes in. Okay, so you just add the 1. Okay, if we are going to make an improper fraction into a mixed number, so this means we've got top heavy and we want to make it look something like this. Okay, we need to have a whole number and a fraction. What you do is you take 5 and see how many times can 5 go into 23. And if you need to use your fingers, go for it. Okay, I know some teachers don't like it, but if it's going to help you get the right answer, then I suggest you do it. Okay, so let's go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay, now can you see 25 is too big? So we're just going to go back one. So it's 5, 10, 15, 20. Can you see it's 4? So it goes in 4 times. And that's up to 20. How many is left over? 3. So it's 4 and 3 over 5. Okay, nice and easy. So we're going to do some of these examples at the bottom here. I'm going to go through them with you as we go along. Okay, so let's go. So what I've done is I've got myself a book, lined paper. If you want to use an exam pad or anything, you can, and then you can just file it later. And I want you to write the date, and then your heading is Premier Maths, grade 7, and we're going to do common fractions, page 49 to 50. Okay, so we're using the textbook. We're going to do some of the questions. You might need to do more than I will, but we'll see how we go. And we're going to start with 1A. Okay, and we are going to work with 12 over 15. Now, what I want you to see is that you can divide, a number can go into 12 and 15, okay? And I can see that that number is 3. Okay, so 12 divided by 3 is 4, 15 divided by 3 is 5, and that is your answer for A. When you do B, you can do B on the other side, and then you'll do C and D. Now obviously if you are doing this at home on spare paper or in a book that you are not using for school, then yeah, you can use blue pen, or you can use colored pen, or use your fine liners, or anything you want, anything that's going to help you to remember this and to learn from this. Okay, but try and keep it neat if you can, because if you start doing it neatly now, you will carry on with it, and then you'll be able to get it right. Okay, and the teachers can see that you are trying. Okay, let's do B, 16 over 20. Okay, what are we going to divide by? So I can see that 2 can go in this, and I want to do 2 first because I just want to show you what could potentially happen. Sometimes we use a number that's too small. So this is where we want to use the biggest number of them all, and this is where your highest common factors come in. So remember you did that whole thing on factors and multiples. This is where it comes in. So we're using factors in fractions as well. Okay, you'll start to see from grade 7 onwards how we start to use lots of little things in other topics. Okay, alright, so 16 divided by 2 is 8, and 20 divided by 2 is 10. Now, can you notice that this is not simplified? I can still simplify this further. Okay, we can divide it by 2 again, and we can get 4 over 5. Okay, just so happens these two are the same answer. But I want to show you why this works like this. You could have taken 16 divided by 4. Okay, 16 divided by 4 is 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5. So that is why it's important to try and find the biggest number that you can to divide by and to simplify your answer, because else you're going to be doing double the work each time. But it's no harm in doing it like this, as long as you get to your simplified answer. That's what we want. Okay, let's try 18 over 27. And we are going to try and divide by what? Okay, now I know 3 can go into it, but there is a bigger number. Okay, and you have got divided by 9. So this is why, again, you need to know your times tables. 18 divided by 9 is 2. Oh, my pen's running out already. And you've got 27 divided by 9 is 3. Okay, and we are done with that one. I want you to try and do D and E on your own, because it's going to help you to do it. I don't want to do all of them with you, because you've also got to try and do them on your own. Okay, alright, then we're going to go on to number 2. Okay, and 2 says find the value of the asterisk. So the asterisk is like a little star. Okay, I want you to write the whole thing out. Okay, so I know it sounds like a lot of work, and I know kids don't like having to write down extra stuff that they don't really want to write out. But this is important. Okay, so it is very important you write this out. So we've got 4 over 5 equals something over 15. Now we don't know what that something is. Okay, but I do know that if I need to make this equivalent, okay, because this is what we're saying. Can you see it's got an equal sign? It's asking me to make it equivalent. If I use the same number, top or bottom and at the top, I should make it equal. So remember, we have to times by something or divide. So what did we times 5 by to get 15? I'm going to draw a little arrow here. Okay, we times by 3. 5 times 3 is 15. Now remember, whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So 4 times 3 is 12. And you've got your answer. Okay, so that is why if you want to write the answer in color, you are more than welcome to. Okay, let's try B. 7 over 15 is equal to 14 over something. Now you'll notice that this time, instead of the missing number being at the top, now the missing number is at the bottom. But we do exactly the same thing. Nothing changes. Okay, what did I do to 7 to get to 14? Okay, I times by 2. And then whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. So 15 times 2 is 30. And there's my answer. Okay, I want to do one. You're going to do C and D on your own, because they are quite quick. You'll see these are quite quick answers. But I want to do E for you, because you'll see it goes backwards almost. And I just want to show you exactly how to do that without you guys getting a bit nervous. Okay, so we have now got something over 11. Okay, let's just move this up a bit. Okay, we've got something over 11, and we've got 42 over 66. These are equal to each other. Now, I can go from here and say 11 times 6 is 66. And then something times 6 gives me 42. Now, you can definitely do that. There's no problem in doing that. But what I like to do is, if I know that I'm going this way, you see I'm trying to find this answer. If I go backwards, can you see, how did I get from 66 to 11? Okay, I had to divide by 6. What did I do to the top? I need to do exactly the same. So what's 42 divided by 6? And I get 7. So nice and so easy. Number 4 asks you to write the fractions in descending order. So you're going to find a common denominator for each of the groups, and then you're going to work and put it into descending order. Remember, descending order is from biggest to smallest. So if you're doing number 3 and you're doing A, okay, we're going to do 13 over 14. Okay, we just write them all out quickly. I know it's an extra step, but it's okay. Okay, 25 over 28. Can already start to see a denominator happening, and 4 over 7. Now, can you see a common denominator that all of these can go into? Okay, so let's change all of them to over 28, because 14 can go into 28, 2 can go into 28, and 7 can go into 28. Okay, nice and easy. So we're going to use a little bit of color this time. I think let's get some color in here. And what do we do to 14 to get to 28? We're going to times by 2. So whatever we do to the bottom, we're going to do to the top. What are we going to times 2 by to get to 28? And yes, we're going to times by 14 and times by 14. This one we don't have to do anything because it's already over 28, so we can leave that one alone. And then 4 and 7, 4 over 7. 7 can go into 28 4 times, okay? And we're going to do whatever we do to the bottom, we are going to do to the top as well. So let's rewrite this quickly. Now we've got 26, so 13 times 2 is 26 over 28. We've got 14 over 28. We've got 25 over 28. And we have got 16 over 28. And now can you see, because they're all over exactly the same amount, we can now see which one is the biggest and which one is the smallest. Okay, so remember we're doing descending order, so we need to start with the biggest one and work our way down. Now the reason why I did it like this was because you always have to write down the original numbers, not the numbers that you've changed it to. When you are doing the descending order part, you have to make sure that you write the original numbers down. So this is why I wanted you to write this down. Can you see that these two, they correspond with each other? So that's with that, that's with that, that's with that, and that one's with that one. Now when you are doing this, you are now going to do it biggest to smallest. So we're going to find which one's the biggest. Okay, so this one's the biggest. I'm just going to put a 1 there. Okay, then we're going to do the next one, and that's your next one, that's your third one, and that's your fourth one. And now when it comes to writing your final answer, go back up and write the original fraction. So you're going to have 13 over 14. Which one was second? Okay, this one, 25 over 28. Okay, third was this one, 4 over 7. And then we were left with a half. And that is your final answer for 3A. Now I want you to do the same for B, and I want you to do the same for C. Okay, so now that we're done with those ones, let's go on to 5 and 6 quickly. And these are the ones where you're changing from a mixed number to improper. So for number 5, we're going to take 4 3/4. And we're going to make it over 4. So we need to make it top heavy. So remember we did this whole thing. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 3 is 19. And you are going to do the rest of them yourself as well. So remember, all we are doing is timesing the denominator by the whole number and adding the numerator at the top. And if you want to, you can do this and put a little like arrow as to what you are doing. It's like a little circle thing going on here. So 4 times 4 is 16, add the 3 and you get 19 over 4. And you are going to do B, C, D, and E. And then what you're going to do is for number 6, I'm just going to do number 6 here so I can still write the other ones down, is you're going to have 17 over 12, and they want you now to do the opposite, is to make that into a mixed number. And your mixed number, you're going to see how many times can 12 go into 17. I know it only goes in once. How much is left over? You've got a 5 and you're going over 12, and that is your final answer. So I'm going to do the answers for you. In that time, I want you to also do the answers or to work on it yourself to make sure that you do understand it. Okay.